Hello everyone, George DeSantis here with a look at the market for the week ending September 10th, 2021. I will not be doing a family group meeting, a Zoom meeting today, so I decided to do a video on YouTube, which I will send you the link to. So just bring up the disclaimer first of all, and bear in mind that I'm not a licensed professional investment advisor. So I am a licensed psychologist, but I do this for my own purposes and I share it with others who care to take a look at the video and do whatever they will with it. I'm not attempting to give any particular person investment advice here. It's for educational purposes only. So let's begin by taking a look at some charts now, the weekly chart of the S&P 500 as we usually do. So here's a weekly chart of the S&P 500 as we usually look at this chart first. And on the weekly chart, well, let's take a look at some of the uh, so-called bullish indications first, and then we'll take a look at the bearish indications, okay? So insofar as bullish indications are concerned, on the weekly chart of the S&P, we have the 4 EMA above the 9 above 30. So insofar as moving averages are concerned, we still have an uptrend. Also, the parabolic is still below the most recent bar, as it has been here, etc., all the way back, right? And so we still have an uptrend according to the parabolic, which is the indicator is called a parabolic SAR, stop and reverse. And there is no indication here on the parabolic to reverse from an uptrend to a downtrend. So that's another bullish indication. Um, okay, if we go down to the triple momentum indicator, this one here, we see that it's still above the 4% line, this 4% line here. So the triple momentum indicator, while although it's trending, it's been trending down, making lower highs here. It's still above 4%, and that can be considered bullish. Okay, you don't sell unless it drops below 4%, especially on a daily chart. Okay, or you don't even consider selling. Now, if you go to MACD also, so those are bullish indications, okay? The other thing I put on a chart today because I wanted to see how it looks or where it's shaping up to be, is this Alex Elder's force index. The force index, 2 periods, um, tends to indicate a temporary bottom at least. So if you go back here, you will see that whenever force index spikes down, as he calls it, spikes down, the market tends to rally again. Spikes down, rally up a little bit. Spikes down here, we get a rally, okay? Spike down here, we get a rally from there, okay? Take a look at up here, right? We get a rally from there, and so on. And over here, we can see that when we made this bottom, we rallied from there. So whenever the force index on this is on the weekly chart, which is significant. When that spikes down below the zero line, you could look for a bit of a rally, which is what we get most of the time. Okay. Now we have a spike down below the zero line again. So can we expect a rally here? Well, time will determine that, of course. Now, insofar as bearishness is concerned, we do have a bearish bar here, a bearish engulfing bar, right? We do have a bearish engulfing bar. We have the both momentum indicators trending down, all three of them really. The triple momentum indicator is trending down, although it still hasn't crossed below the 4% line. So you might consider that bearish. And also we have this bearish divergence of MACD because as the market, as the S&P was making new highs, this was making lower highs. And so we had a classic divergence here, and that is playing itself out right now. And we did get our first signal in a while since we got here on the 1939.9 MACD indicator. So we do have a sell signal here. So this is bearish. So folks, we have a tug of war, a typical tug of war between the bulls and the bears right now. Let's turn off the light here. You can see a little better. And that's where we stand, at least on the weekly chart. Now, one more thing before we leave the weekly chart. I did a Fibonacci retracement, okay? You know, from this low to this high. And you can see that we are sitting right at the 50% retracement line on the Fibonacci retracement line right here. 50%, it's this line right here, okay? So, and that is a typical correction, is a typical, bottom of a correction. So will we go further, for example, down to the 618 retracement? We'll determine that this coming week or later. We'll see. Of course, many commentators and analysts, etc., are looking at September, rightly so, as a month which is usually either flat or down somewhat, and then we pick up in October and we rally into the end of the year seasonally. We'll take a look at that seasonal chart a little later. Let's look at the daily chart. On the daily chart, you can see that on the S&P, we had a real turnaround here. And again, if we look at the Fibonacci retracements, let's see if I could put it right here. Yeah, the Fibonacci retracement from this level here, right, puts the market, the S&P right at that 50% retracement level. You could see it right there, right? Right at this dotted line is a 50% retracement level. And the question now is whether it will come all the way down to 618. Well, I am betting that we find support here for a couple of reasons, and we'll find those as we go along. Okay, we'll discuss those. But right now, the market has been pulling back. The momentum is down, and we are crossing below the 4% line here. Parabolic went above the most recent bars. So all of this is saying, we had a real correction here, somewhat of a correction, and we pull back a bit. And now we want to see whether we could hold here at this 50% retracement level. And we will find that out during the next week or so. Let's take a look at Jake's charts. I have to take a minute to pull him over, so I'll stop the video here. So here's a weekly chart designed by Jake Bernstein, which I use on TC. So what I'm seeing here is that, of course, the 10-week simple moving average is this green line, and the 8-week simple moving average is of the highs is this line, this green line, and the 8-week moving average of the lows is the red line. So you get this moving average channel that Jake Bernstein is fond of. Okay, so now what we have here, price bars, 2 price bars above the moving average of the highs, and we had a setup here with the accumulation distribution line above its moving average. This situation here. So we had a setup, and then we got a trigger to buy the market. Now, since that trigger, of course, last week we had this big pullback, but it's sitting right at that 10-week moving average of the highs and the 50% retracement or Fibonacci retracement as we saw earlier. So we don't have a sell signal here on Jake's chart, on the weekly chart anyway. And if we look at the daily chart, we still don't have a sell signal because we need to have 2 complete bars and below the moving average of the lows, right? And we need to have this 80 line below its moving average. So Jake's chart is saying, to me anyway, speaking to me and saying, be patient. We are now at the 50% retracement level, and we are likely to find a rally from here. Well, we'll find out if that's true. So let's pause here and go to something else. We'll take a look now at a couple of charts from Barron's this weekend. Here's the Dow Industrials. You could see that we made a double top, and now we seem to be attempting to make a double bottom here. So we might rally from here if this is going to turn out to be a double bottom right here. The transportations, the Dow transports, uh, are in a trading range also, but in fact, it looks like it's broken down through that trading range if you consider this level and this level here trading range. Utilities rallied up quite a bit. Now they seem to be forming a bullish flag. If in fact that will be materialized, we'll find out. We'll see if that's so. But it seemed to be a bit of a bullish flag. Here is your flagpole, and here's your flag. Okay, if you drew two horizontal lines here. Now, if we go over to the put-call ratio, as Larry McMillan pointed out, the put-call ratio remains pretty bullish because in order for the put-call ratio to be bearish, these plots should be low all the way down here. Okay, but they were all the way up here. So the put-call ratio is still looking pretty bullish. So we'll pause here. And here's a look at the notes from Barron's this weekend. It's very short. I'll be sending it to you anyway with the link to the video, to this video. But you can see that these are some of the indications here. The VIX is still pretty low, and as we saw with the put-call ratio, that the put-call ratio is still pretty bullish because of its location right now. Locations. They like Cisco right here. They like Sam Adams, although it's been in a downtrend. They're claiming we should look to buy it in the 500s. It's a little above that right now. And some of the bullish shots are Lulu and Restoration Hardware, Moderna, and ADAP. I'm not quite sure what the name of that company is. ADAP. That is Adaptimmune Therapeutics. Had a nice little rally from recently. Okay. And then the research reports like ALLY, CHPT, and Dell. Well, let's leave the notes for now. I'll send them out to you. We'll go to some charts from stockcharts.com. And the first one I often look at is the Apple chart. I own a significant amount of it. A judge ruled against them about something concerning the use of apps and the billing of apps, etc. And so the stock pulled back about 4%, 4 or 5%, I believe, on Friday. So this is where we are now. It's sitting right at the 30 EMA, and we can hope, of course, that it finds some support here. And I don't think Apple is going to be hurt by this in the long run. Let's look at the new high, new low index. You could see that we made a high and we pulled back a bit. The new high, new low index, the RSI also pulled back a bit here. If we look at the impulse indicator, we could see that the impulse indicator is now giving us some red bars on the daily chart. On the weekly, we might have some blue. Yeah, we have a blue bar on the weekly. So we could go either long or short. But if we go back to the daily is saying don't buy right here. But if you notice, whenever we hit this 30 weighted moving average, the red line, we tend to rally from there. Hit it, rally from there. Hit it, rally, etc. Right? So I am betting that we're going to find some support here. And incidentally, that's just where the 50% retracement line is, if you remember. So I'm thinking that the impulse indicator, yeah, you want to be careful here, but I'm thinking it's going higher. The market's moving around, turning around next week or soon after. Now, the McClellan oscillator made a very nice move here and then it pulled back. So, it's consolidating this move up here, pulling back, in fact. The percentage of stocks of the S&P 100 above the 200-day moving average continues to trend down. That's pretty bearish. That's pretty bearish. And if you look at the weekly chart, you could see how it's pulled back below the 50-day moving average. So stocks are, there's some concern here, especially in the month of September. If you look at the ratio of stocks to bonds, stocks being both to bonds, you can see the Fidelity Capital Income Fund, the ratio of that to the treasuries uh, is now above the 50-day moving average again. So I take that as a good sign. And now we can go to market timers. That is best choice. And we'll take a look at some charts here. First, let's start with SPY, the ETF of the spiders. And what I want to point out is the seasonal, right? You can see that September. Let's change this. Well, let's see what happens, what we get for 14-day period. We get a nice rally from November 20th to December 6th on the SPY. Okay, 100% successful win rate, right? 16 out of 16 years. And you can see what the percentage gains are here. If we change this period to give us a little bigger period, 56 days, and we go from September all the way here, we will see that from October 25th to almost the end of the year, 12/23, we get a nice rally. Now it's at 87.5, not 100%, but I'll take 87.5 any day. 80, a percentage win of 87.5 is excellent. The 2018 pulled the market down quite a bit, as we know. That was a financial disaster, 27%, right? 2018. If we look at Qs, what do we find? Q. So in the Qs, if we look at the 14-day from September on, we'll see that we have the same kind of trend from 11/20 to 12/5. For 14-day trade, you get an 87.5 success rate, or win percentage. And if we change it to 56 and go from September again, somewhere here. Oh, well, we got to go later. If we go here, we'll see that from October 2nd to December 8th on the Qs, we get a nice uptrend. Okay, so what we're seeing here right now is September being relatively calm, although you see it's a little bit of an uptrend here. But in late September, we tend to pull back a little bit, and then in October, we tend to rally into the end of the year. So we'll see how that works out this year. But I'll take these percentages any day. All right, so that's insofar as the market time was concerned. Let's look at Shaken. And before we go to Shaken, Mark Shaken actually published something. What date was this? Let's see. This was on September 7th. So it was just a couple of days ago. September 7th. And one of the things that he pointed out here was that as the S&P 500, and with the S&P 500 up more than 20% so far in 21, remember that we have yet another reliable momentum pattern projecting further gains through the end of the year. As we said last week, since 1945, the S&P 500 has finished the month of August with a gain of 10% or more on 26 different occasions. That's roughly every 3 years. In 23 of the previous 26 instances, the index closed the year with a gain from its August closing price. The median gain in those cases was 5.4%. Although the month of September has been mixed in those 26 previous examples, the year-end results have been consistently to the upside. So there is some glimmer of hope here. And if you're interested in what Mark has as a screen right now, at least recently, here are some stocks you can take a note of. Many of them: Accenture, Adobe, Align Technology, Bio, Cadence Designs. We saw CPRT, Edwards, Google, Facebook, Garmin, Intuit. Many of these we're familiar with: Paycom, Synopsys, West Pharmaceutical, BlackRock, etc. Okay? So you can take a look at the screen and see if you're interested in any of those. Let's go to Shaken now, Shaken software itself. And I did that same screen here, and these are the stocks that I came up with today. Okay, so many of the same ones, although some of them have been dropped. But these are the ones that that screen will give you today. Okay, so you could take note of that. Now, I'm going to go to the dashboard, and we're going to look at the dashboard of last week's selections, which was September, what was it, September 5th, I think it was. Yes, September 5th watch list. Not so good, not so good. Moderna was up, BioNTech was up, JMP was up, InMode was up, Intuit and so on, but we had a lot of bearish ones. So many stocks that we had on our list fell last week, including Apple. Okay, you can see them here. Fortinet came down, Apple came down, PKI came down, PayPal, etc. So that's last week's list. You might want to follow them, but if we take a look at what Jake had recently, um, Jake's list gives us the same Moderna, PRGO, Perigo, I think it's called. PRGO. Perigo, yeah. It's a healthcare stock, was up 4%. And a few others, Netflix, etc., a few others familiar names, Costco, Home Depot, etc. These are stocks that got a buy signal from the Jake software that I use, right? Not software, but the settings that I use from Jake. Okay, so now this week I made up another list. Let's see, September 12. Okay, um, September 12. Yes, I made up a list that was oversold. And let's take a look. So this is a list that I think is oversold. Let's look to the workspaces. And you can see I put this shorter list here. And I was looking for stocks that are on that on the list, okay, that look pretty bullish, etc. And these are mostly very bullish and bullish stocks. But I want stocks that are oversold. Now, if you look at this bio raid technology, this life sciences stock, I've owned it for a while, but I currently don't. You could see nice uptrend, and then it pulled back to the 21 day and it's trending up again. Currently oversold. So this is a good candidate for next week. The relative strength is very strong. It's very bullish. And look at the money flow. So I like this one, and that's at the top of the list. BioNTech, as you probably know, I bought it back again. It is in oversold territory here, although it says neutral, but it's still back all the way down here in oversold. And now it's sitting at the 21-day line, and you got a triangle right now. You got a bit of a triangle if you came from here to here, right? BioNTech, Chubb, an insurance company, is oversold. I'm giving you all the oversold ones, okay? And the ones that seem to meet some certain criteria from Shaken Analytics, and they have certain other, good features, right? So Chubb is another one. Salesforce is another one. It's oversold. Don't like the money flow here, but it's been improving. Now it's at the 21 day. I own this one, and it's now oversold. That is Dillard's. It's giving me a bit of a trading range here, but I still own it, and it's oversold. And relative strength is looking good. Money came out of it a bit, but I still like it. It's very bullish. Garmin is oversold now, and it's right at the 21-day average, saying oversold buy, right? That's Garmin. Intuit software, very nice checklist here, very nice checklist, a nice looking uptrend, and it's now oversold. So this is a buy candidate if I ever saw one. Look at the personality change here from negative to positive, and now it's oversold. So one can buy this in here. Intuit, Kroger. I think Warren Buffett bought some of this, but it's recently took a dive. I don't know why. It's now currently oversold. So if you're interested in that, it looks like an oversold buy here. And it is, it's saying oversold buy. Now Lulu, we talked about that last week, and it jumped up here on Thursday and Friday, and now it's in that oversold region. So it's still in that area, and it's getting a nice spike up on the relative strength, although money flow is still negative. Okay, Lulu. Microsoft, believe it or not, Microsoft is now oversold. So if you own it and you want to add to it, as I think I would like to, um, it's now at a 21 day and it's still very bullish, etc. Um, this is a steel company, Nucor Metals and Mining. It's pulled back to the 21 day and it's quite oversold, very oversold. Looks interesting. O'Reilly Automotive is now, after pulling back to the 200 on the 21 day, it's oversold and I think it's looking to rally from here. It's looking to rally from here. Regeneron, you know, the company, the biotech that develops the monoclonal antibodies, it's now oversold. So if you don't own it and you like it, this is a good time to take a look. Signet Jewelers, I've owned this off and on. It's now at a 21 on 200 day, and it's almost oversold and some interest again, right? Getting some interest again. Williams Sonoma was below 200 day, then it rallied and it came back down. It looks like it might start moving again because it's oversold. And eBay is pulling back to the 200 day, but it's now an oversold buy. Okay, you can see relative strength strong. It went from neutral to bullish. And this stock I'm not familiar with, Trimble Electronic Equipment, it's oversold. Personality change, went from neutral to bullish, and the money flow was very strong and it pulled back quite a bit. But it looks as though it might want to rally from here. Let me see if there was anything we want to look at. Yeah, we might as well look at the sectors. Okay, let's go to the sectors. Where are we? Okay, I like to look at the 1 month performance. The ones I own are XLC, XLK, and XLV. XLV has pulled back a little bit. It hasn't performed as well this month, or it's pulled back a little bit. And what's improving is XLRE is still there and utilities. So I'm sitting with these three, XLC, XLK, and XLV. And you could take a look. Let me remind you to take a look at this list. If you use it, I suggest you do, and you could see what is the best performing stocks for the month. And if you wanted to see what it was for the last 5 days, you could click on 5 days and see what the best performing stocks were for the last week or so. And that's that. Let's see if there was anything else. No, I think we covered it all. Um, have a good rest of the weekend. Watching some fantastic tennis. Yesterday was a singles females, ladies, and today is the men's Djokovic. So I'm going to go and enjoy that, some of that today. Thanks for listening. Have a good weekend.